join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please take Austriaco, Vessler, Collins, Coyle, here. Lee,
Here.
Sullivan, Owen. Here. Okay, do we have any public comments? Okay. We're going to start tonight with a superintendent's report. Ken?
Okay, I am going to recognize our tremendous Maine West Student Services team, who became last year our first team in the district to win, and I'm going to pronounce it so I don't mess this up, the American School Counselor Association, ASCA, recognized ASCA Model Program, or RAMP program, which we use for short, and you guys know that acronym, but that's what it actually stands for. And in fact, Maine West became, I think, only the fourth school in Illinois this year to win that award 2 times in a row. Illinois, it turns out, has the 3rd highest number of RAMP certified districts in the country. The number isn't actually high, there are only 13 in Illinois, so that shows you how compelling and difficult that award is to achieve. We are on a race at Maine South and at Maine East to achieve that here in the next year as well. But Maine West is setting the standard for us. And what's important about this is all of the work that we've talked about in terms of how we support our students in terms of student service. And that's everything. That's academic, that's social, emotional, and in particular, the push that we've had most recently in really good college and career counseling programming. All of that really is tied into support systems that are not necessarily fully owned within the Student Services Department, but certainly run and intersect at the Student Services Department level. And so Maine West has been for a number of years actually, even going back to when we launched response to intervention and developed support systems to keep students on track, on time. Maine West was at the forefront of that. I think that's a big reason why they're really where they are right now in terms of leading the way for the district for the RAMP certification. So I'm just incredibly proud of our Maine West Student Services team. It's just, the people on that team are amazing and they work hard, and it's a really great group of people who not only impact Maine West in a really positive way, but they've impacted the district in a really positive way. So I want to start by recognizing Dr. Claudia Alvarez to introduce the rest of her staff who's here. Would you please introduce everybody who's here?
Sure. Yes, thank you. So I have with me Mr. Shamoun Ibrahimi. He's one of our counselors. Ms. Allison Adams, another counselor. Ms. Kat Pankey, who actually, with Allison and Shamoun, help us write the RAMP certification and guide us through the process, and had guided us through the process for the past 6 years. I also have our school psychologist, Mrs. Christina Ramirez, and another school psychologist, Brian Spicer. And again, this is a team effort, and without the social emotional component, you will never get RAMP. It's 3 branches, as Dr. Wallace mentioned. It's the academic, it's also the social emotional, it's the career college. So this is a team effort, and we are extremely proud, but I am extremely proud of my entire department. They're amazing, and they're very brilliant, I must say. So thank you.
Thank you. So we have something that will go well in the office, we hope. We got a nice award for the entire team.
Thank you.
And it recognizes the work of everyone, starting with really good leadership from the assistant principal, Dr. Alvarez here. But I know how I know Kat and Shamoun in particular are relatively recent hires and brought with them some skills around RAMP to the district.
Yes.
And have really impacted us positively. So guys, I'm so very proud of the work you've done. It really is central to everything that we want to do in terms of how we serve students, and I think it's reflective of the openness that you've had in terms of understanding how the work really needs to evolve, and you've really led the way in that. So thank you all very much for your work.
Thank you.
let's get a real quick picture here with Mr. Berry. That's good. I don't find a lot of you folks out there.
District seal as opposed to a front door.
Hold on a minute. We have a, okay, let's go in front of the
Or
district
a
seal.
blank wall.
That's a good idea.
Okay,
Okay, well,
district
the-
seal.
Don't worry about the chairs, right?
Don't worry about the chairs.
That was smart.
He's an amateur professional coach.
Okay, great. Everybody up here, take a couple of them. Everybody smile, nobody blink. Everything will be good. All right, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much again. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm very proud of you.
I'm sorry, Dave.
Kat, thank you so much.
Starting a little
Yeah,
late.
you guys are free to stay. This is when the kids always text us.
Yes,
So, but you're free to stay. Free to stay. We'll
Kids
let
will
the
let
kids think now too.
Good to see you. You too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Some of us on the board have actually served on committees that help in the RAM certification process, and we know how much goes into that, you know, how important counselors are as a parent as well, so it's nice to acknowledge.
Yeah, it really is central to all of what we're doing. You know, there's not just one thing that at the student services department level, it's that hub of really all of the things. If you think about anything that impacts a kid, in fact, it's one of the reasons I recommended a few years ago, the leadership in the student services department used to be from the director level. But really, the way the work has evolved, their work is as robust as any position in our district. So a few years ago, we made the directors within SPS assistant principals. So it's indicative really of how important the work is. Well, yeah, one other thing. There was a compromise bill passed here about a week ago that we continue to study as it was applauded Thursday night by various political factions in the state. I started doing a really deep dive and intersected with some of the authors of the bill and communicated some of that to board members. The compromise bill takes SB1 with a couple of other potentially problematic sides to it, and we'll continue to monitor that. Mary and I sat in on a webinar today with the School Business Officials Association leadership. It's in the aggregate, there's some good news here. It does try to make a more equitable funding structure in the state of Illinois. However, the problem was, and for those of you that don't know, I serve on the Ed Red board, and Paul has served on that now, or Laura's serving on that. Really the two main authors of the evidence-based model are Ed Red board members. And one is Brian Battle from Barrington School District, and the other is Bob Spatz, who's at Oak Park 97, the Ed Red board members. So I have been privileged to sort of look at the evidence-based model from the very beginning. The problem, and we'll continue to wait and see how this shakes out, but the adequacy element that's been applied here has been really applied in a way that it wasn't designed for, because it leaves out a lot of things that are really central. It leaves out significant career education, for example. It leaves out your really needy special education students. We've made a concerted effort here to bring back as many students to District 207 as we can, and in fact, we educate literally the most cognitively and physically handicapped students at any public school in America would educate, and they're high-cost students. The adequacy model doesn't reflect those. It doesn't reflect transportation costs. It doesn't reflect really strong programs that make us a comprehensive high school, like our co-curricular programs, things that are really the essence of who Maine Township is. So we will talk a lot about what adequacy means and what the impact of that is moving forward, but sometimes in life there are politics that reach above a level that you're able to reach, and this was a good example of that happening. And I think there was some trading done at the last minute by different entities that ended up with the bill that we got. But we will do our best, as we always do, to understand it, to prepare for it, and to continue to provide compelling education for our students no matter what happens.
Okay, we're going to move along to updates from board members, which I would like to begin by making an announcement that some of you may be aware of. Last winter, Penn was named the IACTE Champion of the Year, and that was in Illinois. It was a state award. And he was recently, I'm very pleased and proud to note that he was named the Champion of the Year nationally. This is by the Association for Career and Technical Education. This award recognizes individuals and entities for their meritorious contributions to the improvement, promotion, development, and progress of career and technical education, which, as we all know, is important to Ken and to the district. They noted that he has expanded career-oriented classes, implemented a 4-year plan for students to receive help exploring and planning careers, and hired a career coordinator for the district's internship. So I think it's important for us to acknowledge that and thank him again for all his work in that area. I'm glad that he's getting that recognition. He will be recognized in Nashville, December 6th, at their annual awards banquet. So we'll look forward to hearing a little bit about that.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And that really is nothing more than just, we have a great team here. And I think we recognize that people really do are the heart and soul of it tonight. And then our CTE staff, as everyone at the table from the administrative side knows, probably have been our most nimble, open-minded, progressive group of educators that we've got in the district. And our leadership there has really been compelling. And then I think we're starting to make a lot of traction across the curriculum. So I'm super excited to see where we go here moving forward, particularly as it relates to integrated curriculum in classes similar to the geo construction class.
Great. Okay. Other updates from board members?
I got one. First of all, great job, and thank you for all the wonderful services. I just put each program book to everyone there. Myself and also a member Terry Collins were invited to serve as a speaker for this 2017 Global Young Leadership Conference held on Saturday at the Westin Hotel in Whitney. We had about 100 students from high school to college to graduate students to recently got a job students as well. And then we had like a leadership mentoring programs throughout, and it's open to all the diverse community students. And we had a great event, and Terry did a nice job about her questions as well, and myself talked about leadership and so on. And we are trying to really influence the students who are really becoming global leaders. And we encourage the students to be open-minded global perspectives, action, and successes, and really becoming global leaders as however they can be through this kind of workshops and conference events. And I just want to share that information. You guys can work on to take a look at that. And maybe next year, we might be able to invite you as one of the speakers as well.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, could we have an education committee update?
Yeah, the education committee met on August 21st, 2017, after the eclipse, not during. I think we should all go to Carbondale in 2024. It's supposed to go through there again. It sounded a lot better than it was here. So our new Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Innovation, Sean Metzger, outlined some new course proposals that we're going to address in first reading items tonight. They include a course AMPT, which is a geoconstruction course taught between math and CTE. There was 3 AP classes that are added. This is for the 2018-19 school year, so that's why we're looking at them now. The 3 AP classes included art history, AP seminar, and AP research. This would bring the total of our AP classes that we offer to 31 in the district. Also, online music and video production, as well as yoga are being considered to be added. And then there were 4 name changes: Intro to Tech to Architectural, Mechanical Design and Fabrication, Web Development to Digital Marketing, Network to Cybersecurity, and Government to Civics and Government. And then also there was some discussion about career pathways, and there was really a robust discussion about technical education involving girls and how we get girls interested, or young women interested, engaged at the high school level. And there was a great talk about that. The efficacy of our career cruising tool was also discussed, and some back-and-forth discussions about that moving forward, and how we'll be testing it and evaluating it. And Mr. Mesmer also shared that the instructional team will be reviewing policies from the 5000 series, which is the instructional services. And the meeting was concluded at 4:59. Anything else, Sean?
Okay, monthly status of finances. Mary?
In your board packet is the July financial statement. On the revenue side, you'll see two spikes in the capital project fund and the O&M fund. And on the expenditure side, you'll see spikes in working cash and O&M. This represents the $8.4 million transfer that we did to cover the boiler replacements at Maine South and Maine West. As you recall, the money was deposited into the working cash fund, so this transfer took it out of working cash, put it into O&M, took it out of O&M, put it in capital projects, so that we can track our bonded debt in the capital project fund as required by Illinois law. Everything else in July was kind of slow and mundane, as it is the first month of the fiscal year, and the percentages are in line with previous years. I'll take any questions on anything as in the July financial statement.
Anyone? Okay. Thank you. Instructional services, Sean, we're coming right back to you on these new course proposals.
Yes, so in your packet, you will see brief descriptors on page 1, followed with full proposals behind that on the courses that we're proposing. There have been a couple others since we met for our meeting with the Ed Committee, and I will put those out in Friday notes for review, because this is the first reading, and we will come back to those for the second reading.
So they're not listed at this time?
They are not,
They
so
will be coming around.
I'll bring those back to the Ed Committee and push them out to Friday notes.
And then I know on AP seminar, AP research, you were waiting to hear.
Yes, so my latest phone call now told me October. So the nice part about it is these are courses that we do want to bring on, so if we did approve them, and we didn't get approved, then let's say because this is an application process for AP, if for some reason they said not this year, they would at least be there for us then to put into place once we were approved.
Any questions on those? Again, this is the first reading, but. Okay. Ken, do we have an update on FOIA requests?
We have 2 this month. One's processed, those are processed,
Okay, could I have a motion on our consent agenda, items A through F?
I move that we approve items A through F.
I second.
Okay. Ginny, would you take the roll? Fessler?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Sullivan?
Aye.
Coyle?
Aye.
Owen? Aye. I want to note that, and I think I can do this myself, but we're tabling item G to a later date, because we need some more information before we can file for recognition in item G. Okay, could I have a motion on item 7, which is the approval of the District 207 budget for 2017-2018?
So,
Okay.
Second.
Mary, do you want to?
Sure. With tonight's action, it's the culminating step of the process that began July 1st when we placed the 2017-18 budget on public display. In August, we had a public hearing that allowed for community input into the budget after it had been on display for a minimum of 30 days. There are some changes between the tentative and the final budget. We updated the grants. Our allocations increased by $110,000. We updated some staffing and some of the replacements that occurred over the summer. I failed to budget a counselor, one person, so we had to put them back in the budget because they were on leave of absence and didn't roll from the next year. With that, it brings the projected budgeted deficit to $9.1 million. However, 8.4 of that is the transfer we just talked about in July. So when you factor that out, our deficit is less than 0.5% of our budgeted expenditures. Historically, we've performed better than budget, so it wouldn't surprise me if we end 2018 with a small surplus. In this, we still, and as Ken alluded to earlier, with the new state funding formula, I think we're gonna spend at least another year of not really knowing what state revenue is going to look like, because they owe us money from last year still. We don't know if they're gonna catch up last year's and pay us all of our allocation this year, if they'll continue to run behind. They estimate that we'll have our allocations within the next month to 6 weeks. So then certainly by the second quarter, we'll have a better idea of what our state funding looks like for the year. And that will talk about the differences between what we budgeted and what we'll actually get once we have a little bit more information. Also, we know that another major change in the budget is going to be a corporate personal property replacement tax. We found out 2 days after this budget book was starting to be printed that instead of the 10% increase that we had heard would be the reduction, that it was 23. That the state has once again taken some of the corporate personal property replacement tax and earmarked it for other things instead of sending it all out to the districts.
So you'll be able to report, you think in October?
In October, we'll know what our state is. In October, we'll know, we know now what our corporate personal property, so when we do, we skip, remember, this would be the end of the first quarter of the fiscal year and the end of September. So in December, we will have a very detailed information on here's what we budgeted, here's where our allocations are, here's what our new projections are. But we're going to be probably down in revenue and down in expenditures. So we're still probably looking at the same kind of surplus or small deficit.
That's good to know.
Along with that line, the state has been reimbursed us to the district until roughly about how many months are they behind, like 2-3 months still? or
Well,
more
they're they're
than
still
that?
about 6 months, they released some additional money at the end of August because school districts weren't getting their general state aid. So I think the general state aid will catch up, but it'll be under now a new formula that they have to figure out how much to pay us. But they're, in a lot of the mandated categoricals, they're still 2 payments behind. So that would put them at
And you could
6 months.
you could actually get track it in years, like what's the last year when Illinois was square with districts?
It's a long time
It's a
ago.
long time ago. So it's really, the real number is really years.
Mhm.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments on this? Okay. Hearing none, Ginny, would you take your roll?
Bessler? Aye. Coyle? Aye. Lee? Sullivan?
Aye.
Owen? Aye.
I do want to mention to the board members that everyone will need to sign, everyone present voted will need to sign on that budget, so please don't leave before you do that. Ginny has it here. Okay, can I have a motion on item 8A? Yeah. Special education outside placement tuition fee. Second?
Second.
Okay. Sean?
This agreement is a yearly agreement that we sign with Northwest Suburban Special Education Organization, and they service some of our needier students who cannot be served within district. This is a slight increase over last year, but due to the number of students. So we have, I believe it's 2 more students this year attending an outplacement for these services.
Okay.
Now the students are stationed at what?
There are multiple facilities, like minor and
Minor and Kirk are the 2 schools they're attending.
There's 8 students, is what,
Yes.
this is a number that's down.
well, this particular one has been, not really so much as probably the last one that we really still sound like it's very specialized.
And that may not change
program.
over time.
That may not change. In fact, it's gone up to this year, but it's the other 30-something facilities outside of this that we really brought a lot of kids back.
Does the tuition pretty much, does the per student tuition stay pretty consistent?
No.
Oh, it doesn't?
No, it's not unusual in these programs to see 5 to 10% annual increases. It's expensive. It's one of the, it's not the only, the main reason that we try to bring students back is just, if you think about it from a parent perspective, where would you want your kids to go to school? They're local community schools. It's the right thing to do. But, you know, that said, this program and almost all of the out-of-district programs, the tuition very, very hard for them to stay flat. And they're, you know, the trend in specialized programs is districts have particularly recently started to do more of what we're doing, which is try to house their students in program. That's not, not everybody's there, but as that's happened, it's put more pressure on these programs. You can look at North Cook, which is the young adult academy. When we started here, we were paying for 50 seats a year, just paying up front for 50 seats a year. I think we paid for 2 seats this year. So if other districts had that trend, you can see what that does to their projections. So that to cover their costs, they have to raise. Well, the same thing happened in these types of programs.
Okay, so they're seeing less kids come to them?
They may, even if they're not, their costs are just going up.
And you can see that there's 5 program aides and a nurse, so that.
Right.
These are expensive
So that's
tuition.
Very expensive tuition.
Okay, if there aren't any other questions on this, Ginny, would you take the roll, please?
Sullivan?
Aye.
Lee? Coyle? Aye. Bessler? Aye. Owen?
Aye. Okay, we're moving on to calendar items. There's standing education and finance committees that are on there. You'll see them listed, and also buildings and grounds. I do want to mention that the board governance workshop is not listed here, but it's on October 10th. It's for all the board members at 5:30. We will have food at that, is that correct? Yes. So, we're wanting everyone to be in attendance for that. It's October 10th at 5:30. We'll send out a reminder on that too.
Couple hours.
We'll have dinner and try and get things going as we're eating. So,
And we'll get this location, right?
we're going to be here. Okay, are there any public comments? All right. Could I have a motion to go into closed session for the purposes of discussing student personnel, review of closed session minutes, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, probable imminent or pending litigation, and collective negotiating matters.
I'll make the motion to go into closed session.
Do you take a roll?
Bessler? Aye. Coyle? Aye. Sullivan? Lee?
Aye.
Owen?
Aye.